my beautiful people on YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. Mancera red tobacco versus intense red tobacco. I got him right here. The original red tobacco, which is an eau de parfum concentration, and the newer flanker intense red tobacco, which is an extrait de parfum concentration. And this particular video right here is actually more about which one to choose of these red tobaccos, if you have one or the other, or if you have none of them. So let's just get into the notes, guys. And as we can see at the notes on the screen, we will see that they have removed the apple in the newer intense flanker and added some leather to it instead. And if we should talk about any differences compared to each other, then the newer one is more, smooth and well-rounded, so to speak, where the other original red tobacco is more, harsh in the opening. Maybe it is that, apple note, which make the original red tobacco more, yelling, more exploding, and what some people would call it harsh in the opening than the intense flanker. I'm not sure about that. All the time people have been talking about the original red tobacco is just, can fill up a room, and it's just wild when it comes to the performance and stuff like that. And I agree with these people, actually. It is a wild performer when it comes to the original red tobacco. And that's where the newer intense red tobacco flanker is more well-rounded and more timped down. But in my opinion, not in a bad way, It's just more well-rounded and more, I wouldn't say directly more office-friendly, but just more calm. The intense red tobacco is just more smooth than the original red tobacco. And that's almost it. But this particular video, as I told you guys right before, is more about which red tobacco to choose when it comes to the differences and when it comes to the performance, So let me put it in this way. If you want the red tobacco with a hardcore projection and, just wild performance when it comes to, all in all, the CR's projection, longevity, and as I said, all in all, then go with the original red tobacco. If you want a more, close environment friendly red tobacco, so to speak, then go with the intense red tobacco flanker. So it is actually pretty similar. At least in the dry down, it's more in the opening that you get the differences, where the intense flanker is more timped down than the original red tobacco, or else in the dry down, it's almost identical, except, the leather accord there's in the intense flanker that I like very much. But it's a tiny detail, at least in my eyes, But can you smell any differences in the smell? We saw earlier on in the video that there were some tiny differences in the note breakdown on these two fragrances. And are there any particular differences in the scent or in the smell? I will say they are a lot alike. And then again, as I told, The original red tobacco is more harsh, maybe because of the apple note in the beginning is more screaming, maybe because of that, or else it's just, the breakdown of the notes or the combination of the notes that are making it like that. And then the removing of the apple note in the intense flanker is maybe the reason why it is more calmed down. I don't know for sure, but what I know is they are a lot alike. But if you are a reviewer like me, of course, I can smell the tiny differences because of the added leather note, which is pretty prominent in my opinion in the new intense flanker, but it's just, more calmed down version of the original. But again, there are these tiny differences. But I actually like that leather accord in the intense version pretty much. It make it a little more animalic, so to speak, combined to the original red tobacco. But they are just great fragrances, both of them. But is it redundant to own both? That's a good question. Okay, I will put it in this way. If you are a reviewer, if you are a fragrance collector, or if you just really, really want them both, then go get them both. If you really want to. There are tiny differences, as I told you in this video. But if you are on a tight budget, or if you already own the original red tobacco, I will not encourage you to run out and buy the intense version, because I definitely think that it's not actually worth it. But they are both very great fragrances, and I own both, but it's not a must-have to get both of these fragrances. So if you don't want to spend your hard-earned money on fragrances, then just get the original. If you smell the original and it's not, or it's too strong for you, I can put it in that way, then go with the intense flanker, because it is more tamped down and it is more well blended, so to speak. But if you already own the original red tobacco and you're very satisfied with that one, then it's fine. Don't buy the intense flanker. You know what I'm saying, guys? That's the way it is in my eyes when it comes to which one to choose of these fragrances. Okay, guys, let's move on to the subject that I know a lot of you guys out there love in my videos, and that is the performance of these two beautiful niche fragrances. Let's start with the original red tobacco. It has a great sillage, and then it has a great projection for the first about 4 to 5 hours. Before it settles a little bit closer to the skin, you still got wafts of it here and there until you hit the 10th to 11th hour mark. Then it settles a lot closer to the skin. But the longevity all in all for red tobacco is for about 12 to 14 hours. And then it actually still lingers close to the skin until you wash it off. But I will say 12 to 14 hours. And that's great. And okay, guys, here is what is a little bit funny. Here's the funny part. Because now we are moving on to the intense red tobacco and its performance, I know. But the funny part is that often when we combine, an EDP and Extrait de Parfum version, it's like, what can I take for an example? Dior Sauvage EDP versus the Elixir version. It's not like that here. So I just want to tell you guys that. So let's move on to the intense red tobacco flanker and its performance. It has a fine sillage. And when it comes to the projection, then it has a great projection for the first 2 to 3 hours. And then you get wafts of it here and there when people are close to you, and when you pass people, they pass you and stuff like that. But the longevity all in all for intense red tobacco is also for about 12 to 14 hours, like the original red tobacco right here. But then it's gone from the skin, at least from my skin, then it's gone. So they last pretty much about the same when it comes to the longevity, but it's not like the intense red tobacco lingers longer on the skin when we are talking longevity compared to the original red tobacco, And that's not typical when it comes to these two, an eau de parfum concentration combined to the extrait de parfum concentration. But that's just how it is, at least with these two fragrances, and at least in my eyes and from my point of view, But it's not like, how it is with Mancera's Citra Bosé versus the newer intense Citra Bosé. I have them both as well in my collection, but these intense Citra Bosé and the original Citra Bosé are, in my eyes, what can I say, a typical, intense flanker when it comes to the intense Citra Bosé versus the original one, because it is like that the original Citra Bosé is just very fresh, and how a lot of you guys know it is very fresh, the citruses, pineapple, vanilla, stuff like that, where the intense version is more, just a little bit more sweet and a tiny bit more dark. And that's a typical, original versus intense version perspective. But it is what it is with these two fragrances, and this particular video is about, the original red tobacco versus the intense red tobacco flanker. And that's just the way it is, Back to the main subject, guys. That was my video, or my comparison / which one to choose video of Mancera's red tobacco versus the intense red tobacco flanker. And I hope that you enjoyed the video, guys. And I want to send a shout out to all my beautiful subscribers out there, and welcome to new subscribers. Within the next couple of weeks, or at least within a month, because I'm going on a vacation soon, but then I will be out with another red tobacco video, which includes screw cap version of red tobacco versus the magnetic cap version of red tobacco. It's gonna be fun too, But as I said, guys, I hope that you enjoyed the video, and I hope that you are enjoying your life with your family, friends, and loved ones. And until I see you again, guys, enjoy life even more. See ya.